All right, and a pleasant good evening to you from Tony'sPicks.com, and welcome to Night Moves. Keeping you company tonight here on the Tony's Picks YouTube channel and getting ready for a big Saturday more conference tournament action. We saw so few things decided there on Friday night with the tournament action. We'll get to that in just a moment. We'll preview the games as well. Thank you for joining me here on the show. Before we get rolling, we're invite you to stick around and enjoy our previews here and be part of our growing community. Join me in the chat as a member of the chat all stars. I want to hear from you with your picks as well, and I want you to make sure you like and subscribe here. Subscribe to our channel, Tony's Picks. We're heading to 100,000 subscribers here, so we need your support. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. So appreciate you joining me here on the show. And don't forget, you can go to our website, Tony'sPicks.com, and use the promo code TonyT at checkout to save 15%. I'll have picks tomorrow in college football, college basketball. My main focus, I think, tomorrow as well. We have also NBA and NHL from our team of handicappers over at Tony'sPicks.com. Use that promo code TonyT. Check out the handicapper leaderboards and see who's hot. Alessandro there, Vegas Al, precedes this show with his look ahead show, 8-4 yesterday. Nice job. And Al Nino's 5-2 there, doubles with a 2-0 performance in the last 24 hours, the last 7 days. You got Al up there, nearly 8 2/3 units to the profit. Justin McKelvey up there, 7.25 units in the last 7 days, and he's up 22.5 units over the last 30 days. So keep crushing there, Justin. Just check out our premium picks section. You'll find the picks kind of lined up there in chronological order and all our packages from our team of handicappers. A lot of them locked and loaded here for the action this weekend. It's going to be a big weekend, not only in tomorrow's 5 conference tournament championship games, but there's also UFC. You see there, Alessandro's got a play. I'll have a UFC package tomorrow as well. So it should be an awesome day of betting. And UFC here in Las Vegas, the last pay-per-view, I would guess probably ever. There's a chance, I guess, they could run out the contract with Paramount and go back to an old, but it just seems like pay-per-view might be a thing of the past given the way the streaming works nowadays. And now it'll be on Paramount Plus. So you got your subscription there for Paramount Plus, and you can watch UFC next year there. That's how they'll distribute the programming. But one more pay-per-view and then one more ESPN fight card in the UFC. You want to say hello to the folks in the chat here right now, including Ron Mizrahi here. Cal Dogs ready to go today. Greg says he's ready for a great day. And Timmy Two Shoes as well. I'm going to need your help after the picks there for me in the college football championship games on Friday night, but certainly some great games. How about it? Tulane, they are likely in the 12-team playoff with the win, 34-21 over North Texas. They outgained them by 70 yards. UNT outgained Tulane by 75 yards, but -5 in turnovers in the game as the freshman was a little bit overwhelmed there. Maybe he's had a great year. He didn't even start any games in high school, Mestamaker, but kind of amazing to lead him to that game. But Retzlaff and Tulane too much. And man, I was hoping we had DeAndre here to celebrate the Green Wave there. With the victory over North Texas. Both coaches, we said, moving on to bigger and better things, but Tulane's got a little bit of work to do. Going to be a big underdog in the college football playoff. It looks like they're in. They led 24-6 at halftime and had some spectacular defensive plays in there as well. Overwhelmed the Mean Green in the American Championship. James Madison overpowered Troy. Didn't come close to really getting the money there, but the Dukes ran 42 times for 318 yards for a 7.6 yard average and outgained the Trojans 411 to 177. It was just 17-14 at halftime, but JMU, they got a big defensive touchdown in there late as well and got the victory over Troy. And they'll be Duke fans tomorrow because if Duke beats Virginia, that could lead a second team. And could it be James Madison? Look, they're probably a little bit better. It feels like they're better than Tulane, actually. Even maybe they're not supposed to be. Talk about the Sun Belt champion here. But you know what? They really didn't put away Troy when you're 23-point favorites. They're going to be a little bit overwhelmed if they make that tournament. So we'll see tomorrow, Duke and Virginia. That'll be the big game for James Madison. Going to be the other team. And James Madison get in there from the Sun Belt, but they win. Also, Kennesaw, what a comeback there late for Kennesaw. Comeback, I say. They were, winning the game 12-0 after 3 quarters, but Jacksonville State went down, scored that touchdown with 4 minutes left, and eventually led 15-12. But Kennesaw drove 75 yards and scored the winning touchdown with 51 seconds left. And the Owls win Conference USA in their first year in 1A football. Wow, Kennesaw over Jacksonville State in a thriller, 19-15, and it was Boise State over UNLV, 38-21 as the Broncos win a third straight Mountain West title. How come no conference wants these guys, huh? They'll get to the Pac-12 next year, of course, in the revamped Pac-12 with the Mountain West teams, and there'll be the power there, I'm sure. They led 21-0, held on. UNLV put some offense together, but did not cover. Boise got the money there in that one. And looks like Boise State, could they play Washington Huskies in the LA Bowl? That's the word. Starting to hear those flyers out there a little bit, starting to already kind of tip the hand of what the matchups will look like in the bowl season. We'll talk about today's action. Some great college basketball last night, some not so great college basketball. Gonzaga smashed Kentucky there yesterday. We did have, 94-59. They crushed them. They led 43-20 at halftime. They just lost by 40 to Michigan. They took it out on Kentucky here. Kentucky 0-4 against top 100s. And, Kentucky's going to have an off year, it looks like. Xavier did win the crosstown rivalry game against Cincinnati at the Cintas Center. 79-74 was 37 all at halftime, but Xavier kind of dominated inside in that one and really protected the ball well and got the win over Cincinnati. Notre Dame over TCU in overtime, 87-85. Frogs led by 11 late in the first half, but Notre Dame dominated inside and also looked pretty good on the outside as well. They didn't look good at the free throw line, but they got it done there with the 2-point win in overtime. Also, we found a winner here maybe. UAB and Drake. UAB 74-69 over Drake there yesterday. And Matt Campbell joins up with Penn State. Maybe they had to go down a grade. I think it's probably a pretty good move for Matt Campbell, and maybe it will work out for Penn State. But I don't know if it's much of an upgrade there. But Washington State coach Jimmy Rogers is going to end up going to Iowa State. All right. Some more action here on Friday night, and had some winners here on the show, at least in the NBA. I know that, as we had the Miami Heat over Orlando yesterday. Also brought home a winner with the under Hornets and Raptors here on the show yesterday. Brought home Atlanta with that cover against the Nuggets there. We had Philadelphia on the road, blasted Milwaukee there last night as part of a few winners here on the show anyway. All right, let me say hello to the folks in the chat. Get ready and get the show started. Jermaine joins us there as well. All right, head on over to Tony'sPicks.com and use that promo code Tony T at checkout. Save 15%. Left that up there the whole time. Sorry about that. We'll get to the previews and the show here today. And man, we got some great conference tournament action coming up here on Saturday. You thought it was fun on Friday night. It's about to get serious here on Saturday. Let's get to it, shall we? And I want to hear from you in the chat as well with your picks on the big college football games here on Saturday. And we'll get it started with the big noon kickoff in the Big 12 at Jerry's World here with BYU Cougars and Texas Tech Red Raiders here. Big 12 championship game from AT&T Stadium here with Texas Tech coming in with a record of 11-1. They're ranked fourth in the country. BYU ranked 11th here. They're 11-1 coming in, and big number here, 12.5 for two teams in the same conference with the same overall record in this one, but maybe there is I don't know if there's a class difference necessarily between the two teams, but obviously, man, near 2 touchdown spread here with Texas Tech. Texas Tech has been absolutely terrific. They've been printing money all season with an 11-1 spread record as well as 11-1 straight up record. That's hard to buck, but BYU's 9-3 ATS. So there's that. Both teams are 8-1 in conference play. BYU won their last 3 games, including scoring here 44 points against TCU, 26 in Cincinnati in a win, 41 over Central Florida. Their only loss of the season was to Texas Tech back on November 8th. It was 29-7 in that game. Tech lost in Provo last year, 27-14. This is the first trip to the Big 12 title game for these two, especially for BYU coming in here over the last couple years. So the teams have split their 2 meetings as conference foes anyway. Texas Tech comes in here having gone under in 5 of their 8 games as a favorite this season. BYU has gone under in 2 of 3 games as an underdog, although BYU has gone over in 5 of their last 8 games coming in. Texas Tech has gone under here in 7 of their last 10 coming into this one. The Red Raiders have been really strong on those turnovers as well, +8 in the last 4 games here. Morton, a good steady force in there at quarterback. For BYU, they've covered 6 of their last 7. They're 8-2 in their last 10 games as an underdog, and not happened too often here, 3 times this season, but they're also 12-7. Their last 19 conference games against the spread, 14-6 against the spread. Their last 20 coming in off of a win. Tech's only loss was to Arizona State this season. Let's see if you guys have anything in the chat in this one. They scored over Texas Tech anyway, 34 points, more than 34 points in 10 of their 11 wins this season. But there's a little bit of defense here between these two teams. I don't know if it's don't let it fool you here, the total at 49.5. Let's go to the chat a little bit. I got a couple of comments here to look at. And Tech did beat BYU pretty handily there. That might factor into the spread here a little bit. Cal Dog likes the over in this one. All right, yeah. And you'd think BYU, should be able to play a better game than just scoring 7 points in that last game. They were actually didn't even score until the 4th quarter in that game, but it was I believe, didn't they? I think they played that game here in AT&T Stadium. Actually, was it in Lubbock or was it in AT&T Stadium? I should have looked at that. I thought maybe it was because of the anyway, for BYU here, look, getting 12.5 points in this one. Yeah, it was a big blowout there in the first game for sure. And man, Texas, what can you say? They have been printing money, but BYU's been a very, very steady cover here as well. I mean, that might have been their worst performance, certainly, of the season. I mean, after all, it was their only loss of the season. And yeah, you did have the news this week, obviously, with BYU and Coach Shiitake going to kind of stay put there. So Bachmeyer, 2,600 yards, 4 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Man, BYU's been covering a lot of games lately. I'm going to have to take 12.5 points here with BYU on Saturday in the Big 12 championship game. Thanks, Cal Dog. Timmy Tushu says this number 4 team is a different animal right now. Timmy Tushu also says Texas Tech first half, and hello to Kurt Adams in the chat. All right, let's go to one of the longest standing conference champions. They were doing conference championship games before conference championship games were cool. So we head to Detroit for the MAC championship between Miami of Ohio Redhawks and Western Michigan Broncos here. The Broncos come in here on a 4-game winning streak. They beat Eastern Michigan last time out. That was a push, actually. They were actually, I think, laying 10 points in that one when they got the 31-21 victory. There, they also beat Northern Illinois 35-19 before that for a win and cover, and they won and covered against Ohio 17-13. The Redhawks have won 7 of their last 9 after an 0-3 start. Miami has covered 7 of their last 9 as well. They're 1-4, however, against the spread as an underdog this year. 7-0 as a favorite against the spread this season. Western Michigan's 8-3-1 ATS this season. The last 3 games, the Broncos have averaged over 275, over 280 rushing yards in those games, and Broncos have gone over in 4 of their last 5 games. They're in the MAC title game for the first time in 9 years. Talking about Western Michigan, Miami beat Western Michigan at home October 25th, 26-17 in that one. Miami of Ohio was a 2.5-point favorite, so they did get the money. Western Michigan had won 8 straight in the series before the last 2 games here. The last 8, 5 of the last 8 in this series have gone under. Last 2 years, the Redhawks have been in the MAC title game with 1 win and 1 loss. They're 10-15 against the spread. Their last 25 as an underdog, but obviously this one's closely rated here. So you got a veteran quarterback in here. Let me see what's going on here actually with the just take a peek at what's going on with the ins and outs here of this game. It's 1.5. Yeah, okay, we're all good to go here. Kenny Tracy, yeah, he's okay, no problem here. Let me continue on with the coverage. Western Michigan 5-1-1 against the spread as a favorite. Like I said, it's just been a rough roll really for Miami of Ohio as an underdog. But whether or not you consider him a steady underdog, Western Michigan quarterback Lowry, 1,500 yards passing, 7 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. They do love to run the ball. And let's see what you guys have maybe in this one in the MAC championship game between Western Michigan and Miami of Ohio. Miami of Ohio has gone over in 7 of 12 games this season. And we do have a few comments in the chat. Let's see what you got. Western Michigan money line for Kurt Adams here. Timmy says, man, look at that total. That's pretty tricky there. He does like the over in this one. Also, Western Michigan here for Cal Dog. We got 2 votes for Western Michigan here. I'm kind of with you guys in this one. I would take Western Michigan, go with the chat here for sure. Let me get on board with my chat all stars here. And Timmy's pretty steady on that over. All right, and that'll be good for the MAC championship game. All right, now we get to the big one. And hey, stop me if you heard this one before, but Georgia and Alabama are going to meet at the Georgia Dome for the SEC championship. And of course they are. Now, earlier in the season, I latched on to Alabama as my really only serious futures play this season at 10-1. I just like Kalen DeBoer in there. I thought he'd be able to keep the tide going for Alabama, and I think for the most part he has. Look, it's going to be tough to come in there and replace a legend and do it to the way they expect in Tuscaloosa, but give them a passing grade here at this point. 10-2 this season. Georgia third in the country, coming in with one loss. They got their own wealthy coach on the sidelines here. Georgia has failed to cover in the last 2 games, but one of them was the Kirby Smart Bowl where he never covers against a non-conference team in the cupcake game, whatever it is, 16 in a row now. He never covered. They won 35-3, but then the big win over Georgia Tech fell way short of covering though in the somewhat rivalry game there. They won 16-9 as a 16.5 point favorite. Of course, Georgia Tech having a pretty nice season. Were able to cover in that game. They did bomb Texas, of course, 35-10, and they rocked Mississippi State. Didn't cover against Florida this season. Georgia just 5-4 as a favorite here, but more likely just 5-7 ATS overall. Meanwhile, Alabama 7-3-2 against the spread. In fact, they started the season with a couple of fails, and then went 7-1-2 the rest of the way against the spread. So this is only their second time as an underdog this season. They also kind of rocked those teams there. They beat Auburn, of course, in the Iron Bowl, just 27-20 last time out. Rocked Eastern Illinois in their cupcake game. Of course, lost to OU at home. That notable bump for Alabama here, but also beat LSU and covered and failed against South Carolina. So, if anything, did have that a couple of failures in there for sure. But let's see how you've got this one. They had the push in there as well. Couple of pushes actually. Let's go to the chat if you want here and talk about the big one here between Alabama and Georgia. Alabama won 24-21 back on September 27th in the head-to-head matchup. The Crimson Tides won 10 of the last 11 meetings, but remember that Georgia win 33-18 at Alabama a few years ago. Alabama's 5-1 against Georgia when they've met in the postseason. Let's go to the chat here. Georgia just 9-21 against the spread. Their last 30 coming in off of a win. Georgia's gone under in 5 of their last 7 games overall. Alabama's gone under in 8 of 12 this season. Crimson Tide has won this game. When they've been in this game, they've won it for 9 straight years. Alabama's been under in 8 of their last 9 games coming into this one. They're also 15-8 last 23 conference games against the spread. And DeBoer is pretty good as an underdog as well. 2-0 so far with Alabama as an underdog in his coaching career. Let's go to the chat here. You got, of course, Simpson's done a nice job for Alabama this year. Stockton as well. They're not world beaters, that's for sure, but they're fine quarterbacks. All right, here we go. We've got Kurt Adams here. He's on Georgia on the money line. And Timmy's on the Crimson Tide. Hot Tide. All right, and we can't wait for this one. Jermaine wants Kirby Smart investigated. All right. And let's see here. Cal Dog, not sure. All right, not a lot of commitment from the chat. I'm on Alabama. I guess I'm on Alabama to win the national title. I can't back down now. Uh, After taking them at 10-1 to start the season, they'll need to win this game. I think they'll need to win this game. Will Georgia need to win this game? I don't know if they need to win this game, right? Here with the SEC. So, all right, give me the Crimson Tide, Hot Tide, and I'll take 1.5 here. Look, it was 2.5, right? I mean, if anything, this game here bumped up to 2.5. I'm seeing some twos out here in Las Vegas still right now, but mostly 1.5s out there in this one. And hey, look, if you look at that last Georgia game, right, against Georgia Tech, 16-9, and you look at Alabama when they've been going up against kind of the an elite team. Remember against LSU, they beat them just 20-9. These quarterbacks are okay, but we might see some defense. I'm thinking here. I'm going to take Alabama in this one. Cal Dog says, oh, maybe it goes overtime, and that's kind of what will take it over the total there. Maybe it'll be like, a 21-21 or something, and then maybe both teams get on the board in overtime, and maybe somebody goes for 2 or something like that. Well, it looks like it's really a great SEC championship game at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. I call it the Georgia Dome, but we know where they're playing. Oh boy, but what a night it's going to be really here, right? I mean, you got the SEC game leading right into the Big Ten championship, and don't forget the ACC game playing simultaneously with more marbles available. I guess I'll put it there that way. But how about this one with number 1 Ohio State and number 2 Indiana? When Signetti gets kind of talked about for the jobs and they asked him, right, he said, why would I want to go anywhere? I've got this program at the peak. I mean, it was better than any other program in the country outside of one here right now. Yeah, maybe an all-time high for Indiana, whether or not, doesn't matter. They put all the years of, not a football school behind them here for this current run over even last year was terrific. But this year's something special. And, they do have, look, I'm a Julian saying homer, a honker, if you will, for this kid. And I think he will. Just wait till he grows a little bit. I mean, he looks like a freshman out there right now. But Fernando Mendoza is a veteran quarterback for Indiana. And, is certainly going to be in New York, I'm sure, when the Heisman is awarded, whether he gets it or not. Diego Pavia does make so many great plays, really, that it is going to be hard for Mendoza. But just the fact that he's on this team and had such a great season with an undefeated team here coming in, taking on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Still, to me, man, Ohio State. Good thing it's in Indianapolis. Maybe there is a little bit of home field that the Indiana Hoosiers can cook up. Don't get me wrong, the Buckeyes will travel. So I think only thing that kind of gives Indiana the slightest of home field advantages maybe is just a proximity, maybe a little bit of comfortability that it's in their state, if you will. It's not in Bloomington, but still feels like a kind of a home turf, if you will, but the Bucks will be there for sure. Ohio State comes in 10-2 against the spread this season, despite facing long odds in all their games. I mean, they beat Rutgers by covered 28, covered 33 against UCLA, covered against Penn State 17.5. They didn't cover against Michigan, no, they did cover against Michigan. What are we kidding? in the 27-9 pasting there. Oh, then Purdue. They didn't cover against Purdue. They beat them by 24. They were favored by 29. Can't beat them all. Can't win them all. For Indiana, they've done pretty well against the number. If anything, they've kind of been assigned a stiff handicap in some of those games. They finished 7-5 against the spread this season. They failed to cover against Wisconsin as a 28-point favorite. They didn't cover against Penn State, barely winning against a powerful team at home. They were favored by 2 touchdowns in Happy Valley, even even with all the situation facing Penn State. I mean, it's still tough to go in there and do the job. They blasted UCLA at home. They crushed Maryland, of course, and walloped Purdue last week. So Indiana's coming in here pretty strong for sure. But man, I just think Ohio State is still just one step above them. I think Indiana's terrific. It's going to be hard because I want to take Ohio State here, and but I'm pulling kind of for Indiana in a way because it's just such a great story. But man, Ohio State's got professional wide receivers. I hate you. Indiana's got big time talent as well. But Ohio State's last 11 wins were all by 18 and a half or more, or by 18 or more points here. You could throw out the fact that Ohio State's won 25 in a row against Indiana, although they've covered 4 of the last 6 meetings, as Indiana's been this rise, really. I mean, we're only looking over the last couple of years. So even the fact that 7 of the last 8 meetings have gone over, I'm not even sure you can include that in your trend approach, but I do want to throw it out there. Ryan Day is an incredible favorite here. I mean, you could build a small mansion going 46-27 against the spread as a favorite, like Ryan Day has gone here. Also 39-22 in conference games, 24-9 ATS coming in off of a win. Indiana's gone under, or Ohio State's gone under in 7 of their last 10 games. And of course, Ohio State has won the last 5 championship appearances in the championship game. So for Indiana here, Cignetti 22-12 against the spread with IU in conference play, 13-8 against the spread, coming in off a win as they earn their first title game berth in the Big Ten. What do you guys say in the chat with this one, with Indiana and Ohio State? Ohio State is 4-8 to the under this season. IU's 8-4 to the over. Ohio State did go under in their only role as an underdog, and Ohio State was an underdog, of course, one time this season and went over. Got some plays in the chat from you guys in this big one. Timmy Two Shoes likes Ohio State. And let's see here. Mendoza's great. There's always next year. The Buckeyes for the win, says Greg. It's all OSU in the chat. I mean, I want to be totally square here, right? But Indiana covers. There's Mr. 4600. Hello. Yeah, and Timmy says we've seen the upstart team go against the superpower before, only to be beat down a little bit. It does feel a little bit different with Indiana. I mean, look, Cignetti is the most unassuming, confident man you'd ever, even cocky that you ever want to encounter. But when you can back it up, there's something to be said for that. And he's brought his brand. He's put his stamp on this program. And it does feel like Indiana. Look, the proof will be whether or not you can sustain it, right? But look, you've done this already, and what's to say that how did Indiana do it in the first place? It's not like they came out of nowhere, but this guy, brought his brand in, if you will, or his way of doing things, and it's resulted in this ultimate game here for the Indiana Hoosiers. Not old hat for Ohio State. You're never going to say that getting into another conference championship game. That Another one where you don't necessarily need to win. Yeah, you're favored. You're in Ohio State. You do want to win. You want to have an undefeated season. If they lose this game, they're still going to the playoff. So that is interesting as well. But I'm with you guys here. I got to take Ohio State. I'm going to ride with my chat all stars here and take the Buckeyes. I don't see anybody here in Indy. Oh, Mr. 4600, he says the game's in downtown Indy. Well, Indy's not Bloomington. Ohio State's going to have, I don't know if it'll be 50%, but they'll have their fans there, no doubt. You're not going to be able to tell that much. There. Like I said, Mr. 4600, I respect the fact that Indiana will feel maybe just a little bit more comfortable, and I do agree totally there, though, with that statement, Mr. 4600. It's not only different this year; it was different last year as well. It just was a little bit fresher, newer, younger, a little bit, and IU is. Look, I think at this point, recruits. I don't know. I mean, you think of what the SEC does. It's still hard to get players, and maybe sometimes the Big Ten does fall short in some of those big championship games. But we'll see, and IU will get their chance as well in the college football playoff. All right, great job in the chat there. We've got one more huge game here on Saturday, here on Night Moves. And where is it? Where's the? Here we go. Let me update the line here on it. There we go. All right. Yeah, I had it. In fact, well, yeah, maybe it's 4 here with Virginia. I'm going to put 4 down here in this one. And we mentioned already, right? So James Madison, they're rooting for Duke. If Duke can win, um, you know, uh, uh, they're gonna. Duke is lucky to be here. I mean, we know that it's been a big shocker here, 7-5 record this season, and got a couple of wins here late, and beat Carolina, beat Wake Forest, and of course beat Clemson. So look, Duke did earn the spot, but Virginia, right? This is the problem with the ACC right now. Nobody's going to think of Virginia, despite the fact it's been a terrific season for Virginia, 10-2 right now, ranked 17th, but you know. There are a lot of better teams out there than the Virginia Cavaliers and the Duke Blue Devils. That's for sure. But Virginia 8-4 against the spread this season, 5-3 against the spread as a favorite. These two teams met back on November the 15th, and Virginia clobbered Duke. Remember, 34-17, and I don't think it was that close, was it? Virginia was, what was the spread in that one? Duke by 5.5. I mean, come on, what were we thinking? Cavaliers have won 9 of the last 10 games in this series. Virginia was in the title game back in 2019. They lost. Duke was in the title game a dozen years ago. They lost, but they're in here now. These two teams have gone over in 4 of the last 6 meetings coming into this one. Duke's got a nice quarterback in Mensah, the former Tulane quarterback, remember. And Duke, 19-11 against the spread, their last 30 coming in off of a win. Duke also 21-11 against the spread in conference games, and Coach Diaz is 9-5 against the spread as an underdog. But Virginia, they have a couple losses this year in conference play. They were by 4 points to they lost by 7 to Wake Forest, a 6.5-point dog, and they had a 2-point loss or a 4-point loss as well this season. They got a very experienced quarterback in Morris, who was at North Texas and TCU. These quarterbacks, right? They're going to start bringing them back from the, if you don't make it in NFL, we bring it back in college practically. Pardon me. Kind of like the G League players are talking about bringing them back to the NBA. Anyway, here, uh, Virginia's gone under in 7 straight games coming into this one. They finished 5-7 to the under overall, but Duke is 9-3 to the over and 3-0 to the over as an underdog in this one. We can go to the chat for your plays here with Duke and Virginia in this one, and I want to hear from you. Not only has Duke lost 9 straight to Virginia, but they've also failed to cover, I believe, in 9 of the last 10 as well between the two teams. All right, here we go in the chat. All right, and Timmy Two Shoes on Duke here. All right, well, no, not much from the chat in this one, but I gotta take Virginia. Not going against Timmy here, but I just think there's a big class difference here right now. Maybe Duke can get one going here and get the money in this one, but hey, Virginia's been the more solid proposition spread-wise this season. I'm going to take the Virginia Cavaliers here to take this one over the Hoosiers. Over the Blue Devils here. Oh, there's Keith Just Truth in the chat, and he says take Virginia on the money line. Thank you, Keith. All right, and I guess that's a look at the college football championship games. And Keith says Virginia team total over. All right. And also, SWAC championship, Prairie View and Jackson State. Also, if you like the FCS playoffs, really they start at noon, and really they just go. You can almost watch one game after another. On ESPN Plus, the way it's set up with those games. There is one late game on the West Coast, but really entertaining. You can kind of watch them in kind of order there. Some of them start at the same time, but they won't all be, close games, I don't think. But FCS playoffs are going to be fun and exciting on Saturday, starting at noon Eastern, 9 Pacific, with some pretty good games in there. Villanova up against undefeated Lehigh in there, and North Dakota State, big favorite over Illinois State. Late night, it's Rhode Island and UC Davis, another good game. South Dakota State and Montana, a lot of good ones in FCS as well. Okay, let's move on here and look at those football games. Let's go to the NBA here. And Greg said, I didn't make a prediction yet. All right. Go ahead, Greg. Oh, for me. Oh no, I Georgia and Alabama. I'm on Alabama. I've been on Alabama since the beginning of the season. I can't turn back now. Can't turn back now. Georgia's great, man. I'm just rolling with high tide here. I got them at 10-1, and I'm just not gonna worry about hedging it here. I can't at this point. Like I said, SEC. They're both moving on. All right. We're going to go to the NBA, a 7-game card here on Saturday. And actually, we're skipping one. Sorry, Pelicans and Nets. Sorry, Pelicans and Nets. We're leaving you on the cutting room floor of this one. Let's start it off here with the Hawks and the Wizards. A little bit better, just a little bit, because the Wizards are 3-18 right now. The Hawks are 13-11 coming into this one, but the Hawks have lost 3 straight here all of a sudden with losses to Detroit, the Clippers, and Denver. So a couple, some good teams in there, and the Clippers. Well, Washington, meanwhile, they've actually won a couple of games here. They won two out of their last 5. Did lose to Philly and to Boston recently. Washington's been a money burner and not only a terrible team. They actually have a better spread record than overall record. They're 6-15 ATS this season, and Atlanta's just 4-7 as a favorite here. They are 9-5 against the spread on the road, but laying a pretty big number here. Obviously, they got to win this one by double digits against a Washington team that got like I said, a few covers in here of late when they beat Milwaukee and they beat Atlanta, but Atlanta's 4-1 against the spread in their last 5 games. Coming into this one, Atlanta's also gone over in 9 of their last 13. Washington's gone over in 7 of 9 games at home against Atlanta, or I'm sorry, 4 of their last 5 games against Atlanta have gone over, and Washington's gone over in 5 of their last 6 at home, 7 of their last 9 overall coming in. So, yeah, not a great matchup here for sure. And it does feel like Atlanta's a little bit of the better spread team overall, but do you really trust them here to win by double digits, even against this Washington team on the road here? 7:10 Eastern, 4:10 Pacific. For Washington, Whitmore, questionable. Buksevich, questionable. Middleton, questionable. Cooper, out. Kulabai's been out here for a couple of days. Kispert's out. Man, they got injuries here. Cluster injuries for Washington. Meanwhile, for the Hawks, Toppin is questionable. Duricic is questionable, but far more injuries here for Washington. I'm sure that some of these guys will make the lineup, but you basically have, Starr is out too. I mean, don't bury the lead here when it comes to Washington's injuries right now. So just too many injuries to overcome, and I'll take Atlanta to win this one and cover on the road. Those are massive injuries for Washington in this game. They're bad enough, and they can't even stay healthy here right now. Washington also did win the only other previous game, 132-113. It was arguably Washington's best win of the season. They blasted Atlanta back on November the 25th. All right. Timmy says over in the Hawks game. Yeah, you got to think maybe it's going to go over there. The Milwaukee Bucks are taking on the Detroit Pistons on Saturday night. The Bucks are 10-14. The Pistons are 18-5. Pistons here come in off of a win on Friday night over Portland. Portland got the money, though, in a 122-116 Detroit victory. Now they're laying 13. And Detroit's, for all their victories, they're starting to not be able to cover some of these numbers anyway. But Milwaukee's been one of the worst covered teams so far. They're 3-7 against the spread on the road. Detroit is 7-5 against the spread at home here. And this total is starting to drop here a little bit. Milwaukee is 3-7 to the under on the road, although Detroit's 7-5 to the over at home. Giannis still going to be out of this one. AJ Green questionable for the Bucks. For the Pistons, Sasser's questionable here in this one. These two teams just met the other night. Remember, it was 113-109. The Bucks got the win as a 4.5-point dog. We had the Bucks in that game at home against the Pistons. Pistons won the earlier meeting at Milwaukee, 129-116. So we're back here in Detroit for this matchup. And we'll see what you guys have here, if anything, with Milwaukee taking on Detroit. Milwaukee's lost 9 of their last 11 coming in. Milwaukee has covered, however, for the last 5 meetings between the two teams. Pistons have failed to cover in 6 of their last 7, despite a 16-3 record over their last 19 games overall. 5 of the last 6 meetings between the two teams have gone over, although Milwaukee's gone under in 6 of their last 7, and Detroit's actually gone under in a few games here of late as well. They did go over in that Detroit game, but went under in the game against Milwaukee, went under in a 99-98 win over Atlanta at home, and under in a loss to Orlando. All right, well, we can go to the chat here and see if you have a play in this one with the Bucks and the Pistons. Here, Bucks, yeah, it's an issue right now. I mean, the Bucks certainly look like they're a team ready to implode as far as losing their superstar after great years of service here. And where is that going to leave this franchise once he leaves? I mean, look, they'll look to get the haul, but when is it going to happen? When and if? And you don't want to, can't be trading. I guess you could trade damaged goods a little bit if the guy's temporarily injured, because hopefully he'll be okay. But man, keeps getting hurt here, and you wonder if he just doesn't have a bruised ego at this point. All right, we got some comments in the chat here, possibly in this one. All right. Milwaukee to cover, says Timmy. Maybe this is a buy low point here for the Bucks, huh? Looks like Cal Dog also there. And Timmy, I don't know if he's saying that 13's too much. Keith though says I'd rather lay it. I'd rather lay it, says Keith. I'd rather lay it too, actually, right now in Detroit. Maybe they're feeling like, hey, I don't think we're totally, uh, falling apart here right now. Yeah, they're not covering some of these spreads for sure, but I'm going to try them here on Saturday night. Give me the Pistons at home to rock over the struggling Bucks here on Saturday night. Bucks lost the other night to Philadelphia, 116-101 at home. But again, they did, like I said, they beat Detroit, and we were on them. So let's come back with the Pistons. All right, the Warriors are on the road taking on the Cavaliers. Tough luck for the Warriors last time. They played pretty well in that game against the Sixers, remember. Came back from 22 points down, took the lead, but lost on a last-second shot. They did get the number, however, in that one. They were actually getting 4 points and lost by 1. They're getting 8 here from Cleveland, who's been a dismal spread team this season, one of the worst in the league. They're 4-10 ATS at home, 7-14 ATS is a favorite. Meanwhile, the Warriors seem to find a way to cover when their superstar is out. Probably the sign of good coaching and maybe a little bit of a depth here with this team, even though right now, look, you've got Curry out here. Butler questionable. Can he get back with this knee injury right now? Melton questionable. Seth Curry questionable. Dre questionable here as well. Tui's going to be out. Big Al is out here. So the Warriors have injuries here for sure. For the Cavs, Proctor is questionable. Merrill questionable. Darlin questionable. Allen's been out here for a week or so. Nance has been out as well. So, yeah, both teams a little bit shaken up with some of their regulars right now. But, man, the Cavs are such a poor spread team, and the Warriors seem to be such a hard-trying team, really, like this just the other night, right? Coming back down from 22 points down to get the money. I thought Philadelphia would cover in that game. But it was a great job by the Warriors. They just seem to be a little bit resilient when the chips are down, and maybe a little bit too many. Maybe a little bit too many points. Now, could argue here that somewhere along the road it's got to run out of gas a little bit for Golden State. But when you're going up against a team that's not a very good cover at all, Cleveland's 4-10 to the under at home. Warriors are 9-4 to the over on the road. All right, chat. If you've got a play, we can hear from you for Saturday night hoops in the NBA. All right. 8 seems trappy, says Timmy. He's got the only comment on this game, so I got to make my call here in this one. I'm going to take the Warriors here plus the points on Saturday night. Give me Golden State plus 8. Sacramento Kings are on the road taking on the Miami Heat. The Kings have lost 4 straight again. Here we go. They are 5-17 overall so far this season. Miami's lost 2 in a row. They've fallen to 14-9 here. Losses to Dallas and Orlando on the road, but they come back home here. We're supposedly a little bit better, but they're starting to not cover here right now. They did, uh, put up a pretty good fight there. They lost that game in Orlando, 106-105, there in the close game. Meanwhile, for Sacramento, they've failed miserably in their last 4 games, all as underdogs, and didn't really come close to covering those games. Lost by 12 to Phoenix, getting 4.5. Lost by 9 to the Jazz, getting 2.5. Lost to Memphis by 8, getting 3.5, and lost to Houston by 26 points, getting 15.5. So it's just going a bit. It's going typical Sacramento is what it feels like. But can they get up for something here against a Miami team that they also are struggling against the spread here of late? Miami is just 2-4 ATS in their last 6, but they have won 7 of their last 10. Remember, they did have a little winning streak there prior to the stretch where they lost 3 of their last 4 right now. 6 of the last 9 meetings between these two teams have gone over, but Sac's gone under in 8 of their last 10, and Miami's gone under in 7 of their last 10 and 4 of their last 6 right now. Sacramento's 8-11 to the under as a dog. They're also 6-13 to the under as 6-13 ATS. As a dog. Sacramento usually gets enough points actually against the Heat. They're 11-5 against the spread against Miami in the last 16 meetings. That's basically 8 years, and they cover the spread more than 2/3 of the time. But Sacramento, I don't know. Miami, it feels like here they've got a team that maybe they can handle here right now, even with a few injuries in the lineup here currently for the Heat. Hero is doubtful on Saturday night, and I think there was some news with Rozier. I think on Friday with the proceeding in his court case. There doesn't look good for the Shaker Heights legend. For Sacramento, Schroeder questionable, and of course Sabonis has been out for a few weeks now. So let's see if you have anything here with this one. Miami here against Sacramento. I'm going to lay the points with the Heat to get one here over on the Kings on Saturday night. Timmy Two Shoe, though, says got to take the Kings here plus those points. Cal Dog like Sacramento here. So, okay, you guys are on the Kings. Oh, man, I went with the Heat in this one. I know. Where are my totals tonight? Well, maybe without, with we didn't get DeAndre tonight, so I'll probably go with a few more sides here, maybe, especially on a Saturday here. Big card. We're gonna go over. I think I got 10 college games lined up if you want, and then a huge NHL card still to come. Clippers and Wolves. Clippers come in here 6-17. The Wolves are hot. They've won 4 in a row right now. Didn't cover in the last 2 against the Pelicans in one of those duplex scenarios, the 2 games in the same city in 3 nights. The Pelicans actually covered them both against the Wolves, but Clippers, meanwhile, come in here and in a funk. Once again, off of a loss to Memphis on the road where they were a 2-point favorite. That was after they woke up and beat the Hawks by 24 points or 23 points after they released Chris Paul. But maybe that hangover only lasted there a day because they ended up losing to Memphis. Before that, we know the Clippers, they've been absolutely dreadful, 6-17 against the spread, this straight up and against the spread. Meanwhile, for Minnesota, they are They're 14-8 straight up, but just 8-14 against the spread. The Timberwolves definitely have their set of problems covering some numbers. They've been maybe overrated here, right? Like I said, after just failing in these last two games against New Orleans, but maybe just favored by too many points. They covered against OKC in a loss after all, but still they're 7-11 against the spread as a favorite. So see what you have here in this one with the Clippers having failed 6 of their last 7 games overall. They've actually lost 6 of 7. The Wolves are just 2-6 ATS in their last 8 games, but they've won 4 out of their last 5. 7 of the last 8 meetings between these two teams have gone under. However, Minnesota has gone over in 4 of their last 5. Clippers have gone under in 4 of their last 5. So can the Clippers find the gumption to cover here against a Minnesota team that really doesn't cover big numbers when they're in this role a little bit? Can the Clippers find it here? Look, they got one without Paul here so far, so maybe they can duplicate that effort a little bit. Let's see what you have in this one with the Clippers and the Wolves here in Minneapolis on Saturday night. If anything from the chat, let's go. Clippers T-Wolves to go over, says Timmy Tushu. And maybe Harden to get some threes. And Cal Dog doing what Chris Paul stopped doing, and that was pass. Or maybe what Harden doesn't do. And Timmy says, it's kind of on Ant. As the Ant goes, so does the Wolves. Maybe that's what he's saying here. Clippers are the ones with a few injuries here. The Wolves have a clean bill of health, actually. I mean, virtually spotless. As Tony would say, give the trainer a raise. Give the trainers a raise. They're in form. So Wolves have kind of dominated this series, winning the last 4, although each time they were at home, they actually did not cover. They didn't cover the spread at home, but maybe the Clippers were just a little bit better at that time. Man, who wants the Clippers? Jeez. All right. For me, I'm going to take the over in this one with the Clippers and the Wolves here on Saturday night, even with that series history there a little bit with these two under in 7 of the last 8 meetings. I'm going to go over in this one. All right, one more here on Saturday night. We've got the Rockets on the road against the Mavericks here. Not a far jaunt here, but still going into hostile territory. The hot Rockets against hot Dallas. I mean, come on. They lost their last one here after that 3-game winning streak, losing to OKC 132-111. Okay, still Dallas had won 3 in a row, and we're on a little bit of a cover streak too. They're kind of recovering here, and their rookie is showing out for sure right now and looking as good as he has, but it can still get a little bit tough. You got the Rockets here coming in off of a win over Phoenix, 117-98. They crushed Sacramento. They did lose to Utah in the back end of that duplex series there, but that could happen to Houston on the road in an elevation city like Utah, where Utah does show up every once in a while at home anyway. Houston's 9-2 against the spread on the road this season. Dallas just 6-8 against the spread at home. Dallas is a good dog, 11-7 against the spread, but Houston's 12-6 against the spread as a favorite. Houston's covered 5 of their last 6 games overall. Houston's gone under in 7 of their last 8 games coming into this one. Dallas has gone under in 7 of their last 10. 4 of the last 5 meetings between these two teams have gone under. I'm going to go under here with the Rockets and the Mavericks on Saturday night. All right, and that's a look at the NBA. Let me see, there's one comment there in the chat. Let's see what you got there. Mavs sat their guys there in that uh, game against OKC, maybe to rest up for this one. So I'm still gonna. I know the Sharps are gonna be on the over here in this game, but both teams been going under here of late, and uh, the meeting back on a month ago was 110 to 102. Houston got the win at home. Dallas got the money in that one as a 12.5 point dog. So that one went for 112. The total was 226 and a half. So yeah, we're switching venues here to Dallas, but I'm going to go under in this one. Okay. Jimmy says kind of a rivalry game, and it's going to get to be more of a rivalry because Dallas is going to improve, man. I mean, look, I am not an apologist here. I was saying from the beginning, Cooper Flagg is a can't miss guy. There are plenty of guys that come in this league with big expectations and fail and fall short. I think Cooper Flagg is the type of player that will have Hall of Fame type of credentials, something around there. Might be just a great. Uh, Maybe he'll be a several-time All-Star. Maybe he'll be a multi-time All-Star. Maybe he won't be the greatest thing ever, but he looks like a generational talent that certainly can be a team leader for a long time and may flirt with greatness. I think. He's 18 years old, and he just did something that only LeBron did as an 18-year-old. We know haven't been 18-year-olds in the league forever, but all right, let's look at the hoop, pro hoop, on Saturday night. We've got some incredible games actually here on Saturday in college basketball, don't we? And we're going to look at a few of them here. Wish we could look at them all. There's a lot of great games, but we're going to stick to maybe the top 10 games here. Not the top 10 teams, but the top 10 games. I think we've got the best matchups, and a lot of them go off at noon Eastern and 9 Pacific. In fact, 2 blockbusters, actually. You're not going to stop watching the BYU Texas Tech game, but hey, you only have a couple of football games to watch. You got to watch these, man. Duke and Michigan State start us off here at noon Eastern and 9 Pacific. Both teams come in undefeated here in East Lansing. Duke comes in 8-0. Michigan State comes in 8-0. Duke's ranked 4th. Michigan State's ranked 7th. You probably could put them higher, it feels like right now, especially Michigan State. Especially Duke, but also Michigan State. Impressive. Beating Iowa last week, beating North Carolina before that. They beat Kentucky already. Well, okay, Kentucky, but you get it. Michigan State, they've been pretty good. 5-3 against the spread so far this season. Duke is Duke is 6-3 against the spread so far this season. Both these teams are hardcore unders so far this season. They're a combined 3-14 to the under here so far this season. Michigan State 2-5 to the under at home. The only time Duke has gone over this season was on the road, but still, man, that's a real big stat, man. 3-14 for these two great teams, great defenses here. What do you think is going to happen in this one with Duke and Michigan State here on Saturday? The widely reported steam came in on the over in this game. This line's actually moved higher despite those trends coming in this season. It was the send out was 138.5. And some books opened it right around there, or even 139.5. We're all the way up to 142. I'm on the under in this one with Duke and Michigan State. I'll play the trend here for sure with these two. Sounds like it's going to be a war here. Now, Duke, maybe, Michigan State, I'm not calling them a surprise here necessarily, but they've been getting these numbers and knocking these teams off. Duke, meanwhile, failed to cover against Florida in that great 1-point win the other night, and they didn't cover against Arkansas. They were laying 12.5 and won by 9, but they laid out Howard and Niagara, and they did beat Kansas by 12 as an 11-point favorite. So Give me the under, though, with Duke and Michigan State here early Saturday. Duke and Michigan State under here for Timmy Two Shoes. Says it could go over if it's OT. Yeah, you could say that again. All right, we got another Titanic early season tilt here between Iowa State and Purdue here. We're in the challenge games here, by the way. Got this one with the Big 12 and the Big 10 here with Iowa State and Purdue. Both teams come in here undefeated at 8-0 so far. Iowa State 6-2 against the spread so far this season. Purdue just 1-4 against the spread at home, despite an undefeated home record here so far. They've been laying a few too many points in some of these games. They beat Memphis by 9, laying 14.5. They beat Akron by 18, laying 18.5. Meanwhile, for Iowa State here, wins and covers over Alcorn. They rocked Syracuse. They crushed Creighton. They failed to cover against St. John's despite a win by 1 point, favored by 2.5. And they failed to cover against Stonehill. They beat them by 39, and they were laying 39.5. So you could count that one as a spread win if you wanted to. Technically, name your score. That's just a random circumstance almost. So, see what you got here. Iowa State 6-2. The over so far this season. Purdue is 3-5. To the under so far this season, but a great matchup here. Another matchup of undefeated teams here in this one on Saturday. Go to the chat here with these two and see what you got. All right. Timmy said he doesn't see Purdue scoring over 90. Thanks, Timmy, for being the man here tonight. And Cal Dog as well. My chat all-stars here tonight. Iowa State for Cal Dog. Right. I mean, you think so, right? I'm with Cal Dog. I'm going to take Iowa State here in this one +6. Figure a close game. For whatever reason, Purdue hasn't got all these numbers. They're 1-4 ATS at home. And that total is pretty high. Timmy, though, has he's got Iowa. I think he's got Iowa State there. Okay, thank you to the chat. All right, a little bit of a downgrade here, but still a pretty good game. Dayton taking on Virginia. This one's being played in Charlotte, North Carolina. So a little bit of a regional home court here for UVA against the Flyers. Flyers come in 7-2. UVA is 7-1. UVA coming in off a pair of wins over Queens College by 25 points, and they beat Texas by 17 as a 3.5-point dog. UVA's loss came to Butler at home, 80-73. Virginia's 5-3 ATS. Dayton, meanwhile, coming in here off of a 17-point win over ETSU. They lost to BYU at home a couple of games ago, but they did win and cover against Georgetown. They beat North Carolina Central by 19, and they beat Marquette by 6 as a 6-point dog on the road. Dayton's just 5-4 against the spread this season, 2-1 against the spread as an underdog. Dayton's 1-2 to the under as a dog. The other day I was on this show or another show. I had an under on Virginia, and they said, "Hey, you can't take an under. Coach Bennett's not there anymore." No, you're right. I mean, this Virginia team is almost to the fact where they're starting to say, "Man, Virginia scores so many points. They're putting the totals pretty high." This one, though, at 145 doesn't feel that high, actually, especially the way Virginia's been going so far this season. I mean, they are just 4 overs and 4 unders so far, but does feel like Virginia here, especially the last few games, they've gone over in 4 of their last 5. Dayton's gone over in 4 of their last 6 coming in. So Virginia's covered 5 of their last 6. Dayton's covered 4 of their last 5. I'm going to go over in this one with Dayton and Virginia. Dayton is showing under tendencies for sure right now, but like I said, they did go over in a few of these games recently against some decent teams here that went over against BYU, 162 points. It snuck over 163 against Georgetown, went way over, and it was a similar number to this. So I'm going to take the over with Dayton and Virginia in Charlotte. Cal Dog likes the over. And Timmy says, I associate Dayton with overs, so I'm going over. We got a conference game here with Ohio State taking on Northwestern in Big Ten action, and Northwestern's favored here by 2. Total in this one is 154 here with these two. You got Northwestern here. Look, they're off to a 5-3 start. Ohio State's 6-1. Ohio State's coming in off their first loss of the season, a road loss at Pitt, 68-67, as a 5.5 point favorite. So they lost the game as a slight favorite to lose for the first time this season. They did beat Notre Dame. They covered against Western Michigan, laying 26, but just 3-4 ATS for the Bucks so far. 0-1 against the spread on the road, that Pitt game. For Northwestern, meanwhile, however, they're only 2-6 ATS so far. They've been overrated because they are 5-3 straight up. They're also 3-0 at home, but just 2-2 against the spread. 2-2. Let's see. I think they're 4-0 at home. Let me see if I have it here. They lost to Oklahoma State 86-81 as a 2.5 point favorite. So that was their only loss, and they're 2-2 ATS at home, 2-6 ATS overall right now. So not great for Northwestern for sure, but Northwestern is 6-2 to the over. Over this season, they're also 4-2 to the over. As a favorite here, they are favored in this one after all by 2 points right now, or maybe 2.5. So let me see if you guys have play in this one. A conference game here, Northwestern. This might be 5-3. This might be the team with the worst record out of the previews here so far. Ohio State's beaten Northwestern in 14 of the last 20 meetings between the two teams, and Northwestern has failed to cover right now in 5 straight games. So they're not getting the money. They've actually lost a few here. They lost to Wisconsin as a 10.5 point dog, did not cover. They lost to Oklahoma State as well. So we got a little what was it? 86-81, I said, yeah. For Northwestern, they beat South Carolina, they beat DePaul, but they didn't cover in those games. They also lost to Virginia, and I don't know how to spell Northwestern. I just noticed that on the graphic. How embarrassing! No wonder I couldn't get into Northwestern. All right. Ohio State was on that winning streak and lost here, but they have still 6-1 so far this season. And Northwestern has lost 16 of the last 20 meetings at home against Ohio State. I'm going to go over here in this one. Northwestern seems to be giving up some points here. I think they've got a chance to win this game, actually, but give me the over here in this one with Ohio State and Northwestern. All right. And let's see here. Timmy Two Shoes does have it as an under, however. And it's a Buckeyes day, says Cal Dog, right? You get the basketball game in the morning, and then you lead right into the football game at night. And Timmy might play Ohio State now. All right, here's another one, ACC Big Ten, with Louisville here going up against Indiana. Both teams come in 7-1. They're playing this one at Indianapolis. Indiana, they're taking the whole team. They're taking the whole athletic department to Indianapolis today, right? So how about that? You can go to the basketball game early and the football game at night as well. This one, at least in the same city. And Indiana comes in here. You gotta look. It was already in Indianapolis, but they're going to be a little rabid. Indiana's coming in off of a loss to Arkansas, their first L of the season. Both teams 7-1. Louisville lost to Arkansas 89-80 is a 2-point favorite. Indiana lost to Minnesota. Let me get it straight here. 73-64 in their conference opener. So both teams here coming in off their first loss of the season. Both teams are 5-3 ATS this season. Louisville is 2-1 ATS as a dog. They're also 2-1 to the over as a favorite here in this one. Widely reported steam did come in on Louisville, and it also came in on the over here. But let's see if you guys have any preference in this one with Louisville and Indiana here at the Gainbridge Fieldhouse in Indianapolis on Championship Saturday. All right. No, nobody. I'm on my own. I'm on my own here in this one. All right. I'm probably going to take Louisville here in this one, actually. Hopefully, Indiana can get things going right now, but I'm not saying they're not, but that was a disturbing loss there. It was at Minnesota, so remember, Minnesota really never had accomplished much against Indiana in basketball. We were on Minnesota in that game, by the way, so hopefully we're seeing it okay with these two, but I'm going to take Louisville to win this one on the road here, favored in this one now by 4.5, I want to say. Yeah, 4.5 and 162. Wow. Okay, I'm just going to take Louisville here in this one. Okay. Hoosiers here for Cal Dog, and Timmy Two Shoes likes Louisville. All right, got a great crowd here. Nearly 100 of you joining me here on Night Moves tonight. And I've already previewed the football if you just joined us at the beginning of the show, but you can stick through here. We got a little bit more college basketball, and then I'll have hockey on tap next. And boy, we're getting through these games pretty well right now. And let's go next to Baylor taking on Memphis here in Memphis. In this one, 4:30 Eastern, 1:30 Pacific time, with Baylor coming in here taking on the Tigers. Pretty good matchup. Baylor comes in 6-1. I said Memphis has actually got the worst record of the teams I think we're previewing here. They're actually 3-4, but they are at home and getting it back together here. 1-2 straight and covered 4 straight. They covered in losses to Purdue and Wake, and they beat Southern Illinois. They beat New Orleans and covered the spread. Memphis might be 3-4 straight up and 0-3 straight up as an underdog, but make no mistake, they're 6-1 against the spread so far this season, and 3-0 against the spread as a dog. Baylor, meanwhile, despite a 6-1 record straight up and a 6-0 record as a favorite, is 3-4 against the spread. So, Baylor, they're winning but not covering. Memphis is not winning but getting the money. Are we going to see a close game here between these two, with Memphis at home against Baylor? Baylor is 6-1 to the over so far this season, 2-0 to the over on the road, and 5-1 to the over as a favorite. Memphis is 1-2 to the under as a dog. See what you have here in this one with these two teams. Memphis doesn't really play the Big 12 very well. I think they've lost 6 of their last 7, but they still are 13-1 straight up, dating back to last season. Baylor does have its own set of struggles on the road. This is their first true road game, and they finished last season losing 5 of their last 6 on the road. So I got Memphis here in this one at home, getting 3 points. from the Baylor Bears. And Timmy's with me. He's on Memphis. All right, another regional neutral, if you will, with Wake Forest taking on West Virginia here. This one's in Charleston, West Virginia, with Wake Forest on the road here taking on the Mountaineers. Wake Forest comes in 6-3. West Virginia comes in here 7-2. West Virginia 1.5 point favorite. Total 141.5. West Virginia's won 2 straight with wins over Coppin. They won that one by 42, and they beat Mercyhurst 70-38, laying 21.5. They got the money in that one. They did lose to Xavier. They lost to Clemson on the road, but they got the money. They also failed against the Lafayette Leopards at home, laying 23.5. Meanwhile, Wake Forest here coming in off of a loss to Oklahoma, 86-68 at home after they had beaten Northeastern. They beat Campbell. They did beat Memphis 69-68, but they were favored by 2.5 in that one. They covered against Texas Tech as a road dog, getting 9.5, losing by 1 point. Wake is 2-0 against the spread on the road, 2-0 against the spread as an underdog. But look, like I said, this is a 1.5 point spread here right now, it looks like. So not an overwhelming home favorite for West Virginia, but they're still 5-4 ATS and 4-3 ATS at home. West Virginia is 2-5 to the under at home this season, all in the favorite role. Wake Forest, meanwhile, is 2-0 to the over as a road dog. So let's see what you have here in this one with Wake and West Virginia. This one's at 6 Eastern and 3 Pacific time here. One of the better games of the day. And again, being played in Charleston, West Virginia here. All right. And let's see here. Got a couple comments from you in the chat. Let's see. Cal Dog likes Wake. But Timmy Chushu says West Virginia. Oh, man. So we got kind of a toss-up here, it feels like right now. All right. I'm going to take West Virginia here in this one to beat Wake Forest in Charleston. Give me West Virginia here on Night Moves. All right, next up, you got Illinois taking on Tennessee, and this one's in Nashville. So not in Knoxville, but still a little bit of a regional home favorite for Tennessee. This one's at 8 Eastern and 5 Pacific. In this one, Illinois comes in 6-2. They're ranked 14th in the country. Tennessee is 7-2. They're ranked 13th in the country. Tight matchup here for sure. But Tennessee just 3-6 against the spread so far. 2-4 against the spread as a favorite. Illinois 4-4 ATS so far. 0-1 against the spread as a dog. But Illinois 2-6 to the under. Tennessee 6-3 to the over so far this season. So widely reported steam, though, did come in on the over here. I think that's the way this one's going. I mean, it is 151 here. I think it goes over this number with Illinois and Tennessee here. Look, like I said, if anything, that Tennessee is a team that's gone over so far out of the two teams, as Illinois has been a pretty staunch under so far this season. Now, they did play last season. It was a pretty big under. They played in Champaign-Urbana. It was 66-64. Tennessee got the win. They also beat them in 23 at home, 86-79. But we've seen Tennessee here go over against KU. They even went over against Houston, 149 points in a game that was lined at 136. Meanwhile, Illinois, like I said, it's pretty steady under so far, but Give me the over in this one with Illinois and Tennessee on Saturday. All right, and Timmy Two Shoes, I think he likes Tennessee, and Cal Dog likes Tennessee. Thank you to my chat all-stars. Got 90 of you in here. You're welcome to comment with me here. That's how I like to run my shows here a little bit, with a little bit of interaction with the chat. Thank you for tuning in to the Tony's Picks YouTube channel. All right, I got a couple more here still in college basketball. How about Oklahoma and Arizona State? In this one, we're looking at a night game here. This one's in Phoenix. So 10 Eastern and 6 Pacific here. Both teams come in here 6-2 right now. Oklahoma's on a 4-game winning streak with wins over Oral, but they did not cover by a half a point. They won by 24, laying 24.5. They beat Alcorn by 19, not a cover. Beat Marquette by 1, couldn't cover 1.5, and they beat Wake Forest for a cover on the road. But they're still OU just 2-6 ATS overall, 1-2 ATS as a favorite. For ASU so far, 5-3 against the spread, 3-1 against the spread as an underdog so far. Oklahoma's 2-5-1 to the under so far this season. Arizona's 3-5 to the under so far this season. Let's hear from you maybe in the chat. In this one, Arizona comes in off of a loss to USC at home, 88-75. That snapped their winning streak. They had picked up a win over Wisconsin prior to that at home, barely getting the money in a 194 win. They edged Texas 87-86. They beat Hawaii by 7, and they beat Georgia State by 13 as an 18.5 point favorite. Meanwhile, Oklahoma, despite these wins, like I said, they have not been a very good cover so far, while ASU has done a pretty nice job here. And Oklahoma favored by 4, total 155 in this one. Let's see what you guys have, if anything, in the chat here. At, like I said, 10 Eastern and 7 Pacific time. All right, and Arizona State for Timmy Two Shoe. All right, if he's going to take the side, I'll take the total then, Timmy. Give me the under in this one. These two teams have combined 5, 10, and 1 to the under so far this season. OU 1-3, ATS away from home. Give me the under. Cal Dog maybe on Arizona State here. I think he says he got it. Oh, maybe. I don't know. Cal Dog might have looked ahead. He might have my script, because the next game we're going to is actually the real Arizona. And we've got Auburn taking on Arizona here in Tucson. Arizona favored by 9.5 here. 9 here. And the total 161.5. Arizona's ranked second in the country right now. They're looking great too. I know Duke's we've got some great teams here atop the rankings right now, and still plenty of undefeated teams heading into this weekend. But look, between Michigan, Purdue, Duke, here, Arizona, they feel I don't know. They're 2 and they're ranked second, but the metric polls kind of have them down a little bit. I don't know if they're should be down. Auburn's ranked 20th. They come in 7-2, back-to-back wins over St. John's and NC State. They got the money. Who'd they lose to? Just Michigan. Look, Michigan, they beat Auburn by 30. They beat Gonzaga by 40. Arizona, meanwhile, comes in here off of a win over Norfolk by 37. They wallop Denver, but didn't cover 33.5. They beat Connecticut on the road. Remember, they edged UCLA on the road as a short road favorite, and they did fail to cover against NAU, laying 35.5. If anything, Arizona here 1-3 against the spread at home. Auburn's 7-2 against the spread overall. They're also 7-2 to the over so far this season. U of A is 1-3 to the under as a favorite. What say you here in this one? Auburn and Arizona, late night in Tucson. I'll visit the chat here in this one. And this is it for the college basketballs. Cal Dog says, give me Arizona State and Arizona. Why not? Timmy says he's going to take Auburn. You're maybe, just maybe, a little bit too many points. I'm going to agree with Timmy Two Shoe here. Give me the Tigers +9 in this one. Tigers over the Cats. And that's a look at college basketball. You think those games are good. There's a ton of more great games. Make sure you join me over at Tony'sPicks.com on Saturday. I've had a couple of rough days here, giving a few units back over the last few days. We were hot in college hoop and some other sports. I'll have a MMA package as well. But on Saturday, we're going to be firing away college basketball. This is a kind of board I can find the best value here and attack. So please join me over at Tony'sPicks.com. Use the promo code TonyT at checkout to save 15% off those premium pick packages, those day packages, especially in the college ranks tomorrow, where I'm going to fire, and that's where I'm going to score tomorrow. My best sport, I think, college basketball, especially those totals. I can't leave them alone. Like to think I know it all when it comes to those totals, but they got me here yesterday. Let's move to the NHL tonight. We've got a huge card that's going to take at least another 30 minutes, so get ready and give me your picks here. We're going to go quickly, I think, with this card because of the size of it in general, but we want to cover it here on Saturday night. Hopefully I'm working on my goalie predictions here. And let me know if you got something else with my crew here. I don't know if this crew will have it, but here we go. Colorado, they lost a game. Breaking news. Colorado lost a game last time out. They lost to the Islanders 6-3. And what they say is the first time they've lost by trailed by more than 2 goals all season. So, you know what? You're going up against a team like the Islanders, plays pretty well at home. They did fall to them, and now they're going to play the Rangers where, the Rangers at home, we know they're not very good, right? At home, 3-8 so far this season for the Rangers. They've been a big joke, actually, sitting in next to last place, barely ahead of Columbus, 3-8-1 at home for some reason. Meanwhile, like I said, Colorado coming in off of a loss. Will that get them all fired up here and ready to beat the Rangers on the road? Probably. Here at minus $1.65 in this one. See what you got with these two. Colorado strong over 19-2-6. Need I say more? Really, right? So far, this is the second meeting already. They met earlier. It was 6-3. Colorado won at home over the Rangers here. These two teams are pretty solid unders so far this season, combined 22-34 to the under. The Rangers are big time under at home at 2-10 to the under so far this season. So maybe it will be an under, but let's see what you got here with Colorado. Can they once again beat up on a Rangers team that for some reason has a mental block at home? They've actually played well enough on the road, but in the road, you're still going to lose an extra, even if you're a really good team. You're going to struggle on the lose a few on the road. So I think even so, the Rangers have been solid on the road. They're going to lose a few, and if you are not winning at home, you're going to get stuck missing the playoffs the way it's going right now. But I've got Colorado to win this one on the puck line. Give me Colorado here to rock the Rangers on Saturday. All right, abs for Cal Dog. Abs in regulation for Timmy. I might play that too. I always try to give out puck line or money line here, the most standard of plays on these highly viewed shows. Got 100 of you in here right now joining me on Night Moves. It's 4:30 in the morning on the East Coast, 1:30 Pacific time here in Las Vegas. So really appreciate you, and I'm honored that you guys are watching me right now here on the Tony's Picks YouTube channel and also on X. Blue Jackets and Panthers here, and the Blue Jackets come in here with a better record, 13-9-5, and they've won 2 straight. The Panthers, meanwhile, have lost 4 in a row. What's going on? Columbus with wins over Detroit and New Jersey. Here to snap, they recently snapped a losing streak, but Florida's lost 4 in a row to teams that aren't so great. Philadelphia is pretty good. They lost to them, but they lost to Calgary at home. They lost to Toronto at home. And they lost to Nashville at home. Florida in a funk and favored minus $1.60. Now they have owned Columbus for sure here over the last. Let's see what does it stand? What does it stand at? Because it has been a long dominance for Florida. 8 straight games they've beaten the Columbus Blue Jackets, but still Florida's lost 5 in a row at home here right now. And Columbus, they are 6-12 as an underdog, but they've shown life as a 7-6 record on the road here, and it just feels like Florida might be too big of a favorite here, possibly. 12 of the last 18 meetings between these two teams have gone over. Columbus has gone over in 9 of 15 on the road. Florida's gone over in 13 of 10 as a favorite, and 4 of their last 6 games overall here. Two teams have not met yet here this season, but man, Florida, can they snap out of it here tonight against Columbus? Florida beats them every time right now, but they only scored 2 goals in their last 2 games here. Meanwhile, Columbus scored 11 goals in their last 2 games. All right. Let's see here. Florida for Timmy. He's got to do it. Lundell with an anytime goal. And AOD's here this morning. Good morning to AOD. Cal Dog likes under or Florida here. All right. I better make my call in this one. I said we'd be wasting no time here. So, all right, in this one, I got to go over with Columbus and Florida for sure. Give me the over in this one. Here's the Devils taking on the Bruins. In this one, you've got Allen in goal here, I believe, going up against Swayman. New Jersey coming in 16-11-1 this season. Boston, meanwhile, 16-13. New Jersey's lost 4 straight all of a sudden here, and in a little bit of a funk. Lost to Philadelphia, Columbus, Dallas, and VGK all at home, where they were terrific. And now they're hitting the road after kind of blowing their home record. home record. So for New Jersey right now, they are still 9-4-1 at home, but 7-7-0 on the road for the Bruins here. Meanwhile, second place in the Atlantic right now with a record of 10-5 at home so far this season, coming in a win off of St. Louis versus St. Louis. They did play a home and home with Detroit, winning at home, losing on the road. Also lost at home to the Rangers, beat the Islanders recently. Still, Boston, good home record. New Jersey, 10-7 as a favorite, but man, feels like Boston's got a little bit of momentum here recently, for sure. For Boston here right now, they've won 6 of their last 7 games at home against New Jersey. They've won 8 of their last 10 at home overall. New Jersey's lost 4 of their last 5 and dropped 9 of the last 12 against Boston overall. Boston and New Jersey have gone over in 4 of their last 5 meetings coming into this one. New Jersey's 8-6 to the over on the road. Boston's 9-6 to the over at home. I'm just going to take Boston here, a little bit of plus money on Night Moves. Give me the Bees against the Devils. Bruins smash. Tell a friend. All right. Timmy says Allen's got issues. Cal Dog says the Devils burned him there last night in that game against VGK in the 3-0 loss. Yeah, New Jersey has been held scoreless in each of their last two games at home, and they gave up 10 goals in the losses to Columbus and Philadelphia. So, yeah, they're having some issues for sure. Jimmy says New Jersey, though. I'll keep it moving. With the Blues on the road taking on the Senators. St. Louis comes in here 9, 12, and 7 now. Ottawa 13, 10, and 4. St. Louis off back-to-back losses here. Anaheim at home 4-1. Then they lost at Boston 2 nights ago, 5-2. Ottawa, meanwhile, comes in here off a home loss to the Rangers a couple of nights ago, 4-2. They did win at Montreal. Ottawa's 6-4 straight up at home. St. Louis, a pretty terrific dog, 7-6 overall, and Ottawa's just 9-10 as a favorite. This is where the Blues continue to kind of keep things going, keep things afloat. You know, we keep score here in gambling land, right, by units, and St. Louis is down 10 units already this season, but it's funny that they're, have a winning record as an underdog and still are down 10 units. That's how maybe overvalued they are. But is it starting to come back to them a little bit here? Ottawa's 6-4 at home, like I said, but just 9-10 as a favorite overall. These two teams did meet in their other meeting so far this season. It was the Blues winning at home, 4-3. Ottawa's 17-10 to the over so far this season, including 11-8 as a favorite. But the Blues are 3-10 to the under as an underdog. So when they're an underdog, they do have trouble scoring. But again, this isn't a terrible roll for the Blues either. All right, and man, $1.45, maybe even higher at $1.50 right now with Ottawa. St. Louis has done very, very well in this series in the past when these two teams have met. They've won 4 out of the last 5 meetings between the two. 5 of the last 7 5 of the last 7 games at home for Ottawa have gone over. St. Louis has gone, like I said, under on the road for sure in 10 of their 13 games as a dog. I'm sorry, just 10 of their 13 games as a dog have gone under. So I'm going to go under here with St. Louis and Ottawa here on Saturday. All right, and Timmy's on Blues and Stutzel for a goal. Hello to Andrew Wingfield tonight. Thank you. Nice to see you. Islanders on the road taking on the Lightning. Got the Islanders coming in here 15-10-3. Tampa Bay 16-9-2. Two of the better teams going right now, but Tampa Bay has lost 2 straight to the Islanders on the road and to Pittsburgh at home. Couple of 1-goal losses, and now they're favored $1.75 against an Islanders team that is coming off of a win over Colorado and against this Tampa Bay team, of course, here. It was 2-1 in favor of the Islanders at home. That was back 4 days ago. Islanders come in here 8-4 on the road so far this season. Tampa's done a nice job, 8-6 at home. Islanders have gone under in 10 of 17 as an underdog. The Islanders have lost 8 of their last 9 games at Tampa Bay. 5 of the last 6 meetings between these two teams have gone under, but it is a pretty one-sided series for the Lightning, no doubt about it. And the one Tampa Bay win was I believe, the last win there. Oh no, that was their second win, and I'm going to call it here actually. Oh, but okay, yeah, still. Islanders have lost 8 of 9 on the road at Tampa. That was at home, right? Got it. All right, let me hear from you in the chat here with New York and Tampa Bay. Can't spend too long on these games. We've been here a long time tonight, but appreciate you joining me here. Really got a great crowd, man. I'm really honored to have 100 of you here watching right now as I go over the games here on Saturday in the NHL. All right, and in this one, I'm going to take the Lightning here in this one on the puck line. Give me the Lightning to rock the Islanders here on Saturday. Cal Dog, I think, likes the under here. Timmy Chushu took Tampa. And here's Cal Dog on the Islanders. Next up, we got the Canadiens taking on the Maple Leafs here. Maple Leafs favored at home against Montreal. Montreal's 14-9-3 coming in. They've lost 2 of 3. Toronto's on a 3-game winning streak here with wins over Pittsburgh, Florida, and Colorado, outscoring their opponents 17-4 right now. Maple Leafs looking hot. Canadians, meanwhile, come in here off of a win over Winnipeg 3-2 following losses to Ottawa and Colorado. Canadians have been pretty good on the road, 7-3. Last 7-3 this season. Toronto 8-4 at home. Montreal won the first meeting at home 5-2 between these two teams. Toronto has gone over in 9 of their last 11 games at home. They've beaten Montreal at home in 8 straight games right now. Montreal just 2-9 in the last 11 overall against Toronto. So they might still have their number despite the fact that 2 of the last 3 games have gone in Montreal's favor. It's been one-sided for Toronto, but Montreal's probably improved enough to grab a couple of these games. I don't know how much we could put too much stock into that 8-game winning streak at home, but it's a reasonable price. I know Toronto's lost 4 in a row here, but they do own the season series a little bit. Montreal's gone over in 7 of their last 8 on the road and 15 of their last 18 overall. You'd think the way these two teams have been playing to the over, the total be 7 here. Could we get? We haven't seen too many 7s out there this season, right? Have there been one? Has there been one that even snuck to a 7 this season, but pre-flop? This feels like it could be it, right? You have two teams combined 36-17 to the over. Montreal 10-3 to the over as a dog. Toronto 13-3 to the over as a favorite. I gotta go over in this one. Hey, we could what do they call it when you extendo bazooka? I don't know. Maybe this one will be over 7.5 tonight with Montreal and Toronto. Give me the over here. This series has gone over in 4 straight. I'll take the over. All right. And let's see what we got here. The Habs have the goaltending. Yeah, I think Hildeby's in there. We'll see. Timmy's got the over. Cal Dog's got the over. Got to go over in this one. Predators on the road taking on the Hurricanes. And the Preds here, big underdog in this one with the Hurricanes favored to maybe even higher than this. 225 there, might even call it 235 right now. And the total here, about, 6 flat, looks fine. Juice Sarish in here going up against Freddie Anderson. Nashville, winners of 2 straight here, though, coming in. They beat Florida 2-1. They beat Calgary 5-1. They've been on a little bit of a good streak here of late for Nashville. Meanwhile, Carolina still 16-8-2, 8-4 at home, 15-8. As a favorite so far this season, Carolina, they still putting it down despite being the favorite in a lot of games. But look, the record speaks for itself. 16-8-2, one of the best teams in the league. Nashville 10-13-4. However, Nashville has won 5 of the last 6 meetings between these two teams, although Carolina's won 14 of the last 19 at home. Between the two teams. 5 of the last 7 meetings between these two teams have gone over. Carolina's been the over team this year. They're 9-4 to the over so far. Meanwhile, Nashville 8-11 to the under as a dog, although they've gone over in 5 of their last 6 games overall. Let's hear from you if you want in the chat with Nashville and Carolina here. Doesn't feel like at this point. I mean, Carolina, a big 225 favorite. Nashville actually showing signs of life here right now. Carolina got rocked by Toronto at home 5-1. They beat Calgary 1-0, but they were a big favorite in that one. They did rock Winnipeg 5-1. They lost at home to the Rangers, lost at Buffalo. So Carolina's not in their best form necessarily right now, but still one of the better teams favored here this season. However, on the puck line, Nashville just they are 10-9 as a puck line dog. Carolina 8-15 as a puck line favorite here. I'm going to take Nashville on the puck line here in this one on Saturday night. Give me the Predators on the road plus 1.5 at minus $1.15. I'm sorry, minus $1.40. Forgive me, my bad. I was looking at the wrong line there. I was looking at the plus money. I'm not that crazy, but okay, here we go. We got some picks. Hello to Timothy Hawk tonight in the chat. Thank you for being here, Timothy. He's got the Preds as well. I can read that. Canes, let's see. Carolina here, though, for Timmy Two-Shoe. No way the Preds do it again. They're just too inconsistent. All right. Timothy Hawk's on the Preds here, as we said. Nashville for Cal Dog, maybe on the puck line. And Andrew going through those football games still, but it's great to have him there. Hopefully he catches up. Hello, Andrew. Hopefully you're watching the whole show. All right, we got the Utah Mammoth on the road, taking on the Calgary Flames. Closely rated game here. Calgary, a home favorite. Minus $1.20, 6.5. Calgary 10-15-4. Utah 14-12-3. Utah's won 2 straight, including wins over Vancouver and Anaheim. They've outscored those two opponents 11-1. But man, this road trip has been taking forever. They've been on the road here since Thanksgiving, I think, for Utah right now. And for Calgary here, they're off of a win at home against Minnesota. They've been inconsistent offensively, that's for sure. But they were able to grab a win here at home. They're actually starting to show signs of life right now. Calgary has improved their home record here now to 5-4-2 overall. They played kind of a road-heavy schedule. You gotta admit that. They're 10-15-4 overall. Utah on the road here right now, 7-9-2. Calgary's 18-11 to the over this season. Utah's 7-3 to the over as an underdog right now coming in. The total sits at 6. These two teams have, let's see here. Utah's gotten the better of this series here between these two. Utah comes in having won. Let's see here. This is all these games are at 7:07 Eastern, 4:07 Pacific. Yeah, Utah's won 4 of the last 5 meetings between the two. And however, Calgary's won 9 of the last 10 meetings at home between the two. So obviously it's a home-dominated series. Utah won at home 3-1 last time these two teams met. But Utah did win here last January 5-3. But I'm going to try Calgary here in this one at home at minus $1.20. 9 of the last 10 at home against Utah. Utah's doing a good job, but I don't know if they're that special. Calgary's been making some strides here. Like I said, they've played 7 more games on the road this season so far. And Utah, really, they've gotten the money every time here, really, in this series. But I'm going to go with Calgary here in this one. Timothy Hawks on the Flames. And yeah, it might be Cooley in there, we said, right? Jermaine's here, and he's on Cooley. I've got a few more here on the ice, and then we'll be out of here. 4 more games. Thank you for joining me here on Night Moves. What a show, huh? Been here for 90 minutes with you on the Tony's Picks YouTube channel. Next up, here's the Blackhawks on the road taking on the Kings. Chicago comes in here 12-9-6. The Kings are 12-8-7. Nearly identical records, but the Kings are a $2 favorite. Kings have lost 2 in a row right now to Washington and to who? Chicago. Teams just met the other night right here. They met, or actually in Chicago. No, it was here. Yeah, back-to-back games basically over 2 games and 3 nights between the 2 teams. I'll get it right. Kings offense struggling, but they're getting good goaltending. They lost that game 2-1. Kings are not scoring goals right now. Meanwhile, Chicago, every game is a 1-goal game. They either win or stay within a goal every time. It happened the other night, obviously. Chicago got the win here 2-1. Now, maybe the Kings can bounce back and clobber Chicago here because they're supposedly the better team. They're supposed to be the better team. But the Kings right now have lost 6 of their last 8. They have beaten Chicago in 11 of the last 15 at home. Chicago's still just 3-7 here against LA in the last 10 games overall. Chicago's gone over in 4 of their last 5. Kings have gone under in 5 straight at home. They're 3-9 to the under at home because of all these scoring woes. But I got to take the Blackhawks here again. Like I said, every game is a 1-goal game right now for Chicago. They're really hanging in there. Even when they're losing, they're getting the puck line win. Chicago's 22-4 as a puck line underdog so far this season. And the Kings are 3-15 as a puck line favorite. And it's still only minus $1.45 for the Blackhawks on that puck line. Yeah, people are saying, never take that +1.5 after that minus money. I'm pretty sure that if you added those up and said, hey, I've got an underdog at 22-4 and a favorite at 3-15, that $1.45 is going to be able to, you're going to cover that money every time. I mean, that's basically 37-7. So I'm going to take the Blackhawks here on the puck line on Saturday night. All right. And let's see here. Okay, Cal Dogs with me there. And Timothy Hawk likes Chicago as well. Tim said, what happened to Mikhaev? All right, we got a couple more here on Saturday night. Hockey night. Red Wings and Seattle here. Decent game, but the 2 teams are struggling all of a sudden. Red Wings 14-11-3, but they're in a bit of a crunch, having lost last time out to CBJ. They did split those games with Boston, but before that they lost to Tampa and Nashville. Meanwhile, Seattle's lost 4 straight. Losses to the Islanders, to Dallas, and then they just lost those back-to-back games. Or those 2 games anyway. Recently, they were separated by a few days, but they lost twice to the Oilers and got beat pretty handily in those games. In fact, the Oilers won the 2 games 13-4. So Seattle having a few issues here along the way right now. They've lost 4 of their last 5. Detroit's beaten Seattle in 4 of the last 5 meetings between the 2, even though Detroit is having their own woes here right now. Detroit's just 5-7 as a favorite this year, and they are favorite in this game. Meanwhile, Seattle is still 6-3-2 at home so far this season. 6-3-3 at home so far this season. So yeah, I got a 4-game losing streak here right now, and Detroit did win the first meeting at home 4-2, but Seattle, they're still at home, just down a unit or so, unit and a quarter here maybe. Detroit, meanwhile, on the road so far this season, they're down a unit and 2/3, so they're 5-5-2 on the road. Seattle's 3-9 to the under at home right now, although Detroit's a bit of an over this season at 16-12. All right, I'll make the call here in this one with Detroit and Seattle tonight. Give me the Kraken at home, plus 105. Here, I'll take Seattle in this one. All right, Kraken for Timmy Tushu here. And maybe here Timothy Hawk says Red Wings game to go over. They've met nine times, and each time it's gone over in this series. Yeah, went over 5.5 already this season, and last season both meetings went over as well. Great call there by Timothy. All right, I'll go ahead and take the Kraken. Timothy's got us on the over. And Kraken here for Cal Dog. All right, I got 2 more. Might be running out of gas here. It's only 2 a.m. in Las Vegas. And let's get a few more games here with the Wild here on the road, taking on Vancouver. Minnesota's 15-8-5, and I don't. Do they have Wallstead in there? The Great Wall of St. Paul against the Canucks and Tolopilo. Oh boy, Vancouver's lost 4 straight right now. Now Minnesota, I think Gus was in their last game, wasn't he? Right now, I mean, this guy Jesper Wallstead is the talk of the league. They've been hot. Minnesota's 7-5 on the road. Vancouver just 3-8 at home, 7-13 as an underdog. Minnesota has not been a good favorite, actually. They're 5-7 straight up as a favorite. $1.35 here, though. Minnesota 12-16 to the under, mostly because of this hot goaltender. Vancouver's lost 7 of their last 8. Minnesota does own this series. They've gone over in 11 of the last. I'm sorry. Minnesota's won 11 of the last 13 in this series. Minnesota's gone under in 6 of their last 7. Vancouver's gone under in 4 of its last 5. And 7 of the last 9 meetings between these two teams have gone under. So Minnesota's been Vancouver's an over team, no doubt about it. They're 9-3 to the over at home, 13-7 to the over as an underdog. But again, this series goes under, and Vancouver has been going under here finally, or I'll say finally, but after many overs, they've gone under here in 4 straight. So I'm going to go under with Minnesota and Vancouver here on Night Moves. All right, and could be Wallstead today. Cal Dog on the. You guys are on the Wild, so I'll take the under. But I might just go with you guys. Just look, Minnesota has not been a good favorite, but Vancouver's just been pretty dismal here. They'll probably end up behind Cal, with a worse record than Calgary, I would imagine. I found one more game on the ice here on Saturday night. Winnipeg, 14-12-1 on the road. The Oilers, 12-11-5. Man, the Oilers are up and down, aren't they? Edmonton 6-3 at home so far this season, however. 6-3 and what does that say? Better look at it here in the database. 6-3-2. I would say not 6-3-7, is it? 6-3-2 at home so far this season for Winnipeg. Meanwhile, on the road, they are 7-7-1 coming in. Winnipeg here off of a win at home against Buffalo. They were on a long road trip, came back home and looked just fine in that game back. But now all of a sudden they're back on the road again. So those are the ones you hate, right? You're on the road for a long road trip. You come home for one game and then you're back out on the road, even if it is just to Edmonton. Edmonton, meanwhile, comes in off of a win over Seattle, 9-4, and that was after they lost to Minnesota 1-0. So, like I said, this is what's been going on with Edmonton. Winnipeg has been an underdog. Oops, where's the graphic here? Sorry about that. Just a bad graphics man. There we go. Winnipeg's 0-6 as an underdog so far this season, and they're 3-3 as a puck line dog. Edmonton's 5-16 as a puck line favorite. Edmonton is 8-3 to the over at home so far. Winnipeg's 8-7 to the over on the road. Edmonton's won the last 3 meetings between these two teams. However, Winnipeg has won 4 of the last 5 on the road against Edmonton, however, including the last one. They haven't played yet. Let's see. 4-0. There it is. 4-0. Edmonton won at home there. So, all right. Edmonton's gone over in 4 of their last 5. Winnipeg's gone under in 4 of their last 5. So, see what you guys have in this one with Winnipeg and Edmonton. Even I'm not sure here. I'm ready for this one to be over. By the time we get to this game, there's going to be the end of the football. I'm sure it'll be a fine game here between Edmonton and Winnipeg. All right. I'm going to take the Winnipeg Jets here on the puck line on Saturday night. Give me the Jets at plus 1.5, minus 145. I'll take the Jets on the puck line. Right, and we got Jets for Cal Dog with me. Oh, did I get the spelling? Sorry, Timmy. Do I have the spelling incorrect there? I don't think so. But I could be corrected there. Too many L's, is that what it is? I got not enough L's in there. All right, I'll fix that here. Oh. All right. Oh, the show's over. Good thing the show's over. That's going to do. Oh, Timmy's got team total over there. Thank you, Timmy. That's going to do it for the morning steam here. Thank you, everybody. 100 of you hung out with me all the way. What an honor here to have that many on a Saturday morning here on the Tony's Picks YouTube channel. So really appreciate you being here with me. And don't forget, we've got Tony's Picks Morning Show, 9:30 Eastern, 6:30 Pacific, as it gets you ready for the day's action. And also, get ready for a great sports betting day. I'll be back tomorrow with more Night Moves. We recap the action from Saturday and look ahead to an NFL Sunday with some big games out there on Sunday. All right. Well, that's going to do it here for Night Moves. Really appreciate you joining me here on the show. Don't forget, like, share, subscribe, and join me back here right tomorrow on Night Moves. That's going to do it here for the show. For the Tony's Picks YouTube channel, I'm Ramon Scott. So long from Night Moves.